You've heard the expression that whatever goes woke goes to you know what.
Do I even need to say it?
In this video, we're going to react to a Thomas Sowell clip from back in the day. This one's about how liberals pushed women down. It seems that no matter what liberals do, or the left, or socialists, or progressives, or whatever you want to call them, whatever they touch just turns to total crap.
There, I said it.
And here we go. I'm going to react to this as usual. And I had not seen this clip, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. Let's go.
I think people read your book incorrectly who come to the following conclusion, but let me, in any event, state the conclusions they come to. Namely, that you oppose efforts, political efforts, equal opportunity, which in fact you do not, correct?
Yes.
What you oppose, as I understand it, and as your book very plainly states, is any preferential treatment that disguises objective standards. Is that correct?
Yes, and particularly since the net effect of the preferential treatment, which is preferential in intention more so than in results, is that those blacks who are particularly disadvantaged have fallen further behind under these policies. That such policies have typically benefited those blacks who were well off, who became better off. And this is true also in other countries. In India, there's a program in Bombay, and someone who wrote about this commented that this program is for the benefit of the clerks, not the coolies. But that's been true in general, and that's what's true in the United States. That it's not the coolies that benefit, it's the clerks that benefit, who then aspire to higher occupations. For example, blacks who have relatively less work experience, lower levels of education, black female-headed families, all these groups have fallen further behind during a decade or more of affirmative action. Black female-headed families have had an absolute decline in real income over this span and have fallen further behind white female-headed families.
All right, let's just stop there. Let him go for there for a while. Obviously, this is about affirmative action, and it's about how when we try and set standards, where we try to put people forward because of a particular class, that always ends up hurting that preferential class. In this case, women. He mentioned other people as well, but he's talking about heads of family women, basically single black income families. In the very beginning there, he was talking about equal opportunity versus equal outcomes, essentially. And of course, Thomas Sowell is not about equal outcomes. He's about equal opportunities. So let's keep going here with this clip.
At the same time, black couples who are both college educated earn higher incomes than white couples who are both college educated. So that this whole program makes it, provides incentives to hire blacks who are safe. Therefore, one will make some effort towards one's quota, but one will not take in people who might not progress enough for their promotions and discharge patterns to satisfy the government. So you make it risky to hire average blacks and more desirable to hire blacks who have privileges, not privileges, but advantages.
We're not...
So essentially, this is the whole affirmative action deal here, which the Supreme Court essentially said was unconstitutional. He's saying, look, you're not going to hire the average black person or anyone who's like at entry level. You're going to hire someone that has skills. Otherwise, that person would probably qualify anyway. And so you're taking the people who you're trying to benefit in terms of the people who don't have opportunities, or so you say, the ones who are the downtrodden, of which the liberals and the left have helped facilitate. Those very ones aren't getting the benefit of which you're trying to promote. You're actually doing the opposite effect and putting them down further and elevating people with real marketable skills, which is how it should be anyway. So why even have it?
Do you ascribe to the programs of the past 10 years that polarization? Because if so, how does that account for the apparent correlation between those families, those black families that do not do well, and the vastly increased number of one-parent black families?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, during the past 10 years, we've had affirmative action. Mm-hmm. We have also had we've also had a rise of between 21 to 37% of families, black families, that have a single parent.
Yes.
I.e., there's been a desertion by the male, by the father.
Yes.
Here we go. I mean, this is a contemporary video. This isn't an imagination. This is contemporary to this particular time. We talk about how the government incentivized the woman to get rid of the black male or the father of their child out of the household so that they could get more benefits from the state welfare programs. And so here we are articulating it in real time as it's happening. This is not revisionist. This is actual stuff, which is why I like going back to older videos and seeing how people talked and seeing that the evidence correlates exactly with what we're talking about today, which is the difference of which liberals do. They'll go back in history and will say, hey, don't go back in history and look at the original documents. We'll tell you what those documents said because we don't want you digging in. Just trust us when we tell you about Columbus, when we tell you about slavery, and so forth.
Now, is that a part of the welfare program, or is that entirely coincidental? And to what extent is that the socially causative factor of the phenomenon you're describing?
Well, if I limit my description just to families that are female-headed, and I compare blacks and whites, then within that comparison, I see that the blacks are falling further and further behind. Yet if I pick almost any measure of more advantaged families, I find the blacks not only catching up, but in some cases overtaking and passing the whites. Mm-hmm. And there are a number of ways you can look at it and you get the same result. And what that suggests to me is that those blacks who have the skills, the experience, the education, and so on, are finding things much, much easier than ever before, whereas those where there's a risk involved in hiring them, that people aren't going to take that risk. I've seen her explain to me very explicitly in the case of women, and I suspected they wanted me to draw the same conclusion with respect to blacks.
And here we go. Now here's the point of this particular video. We talked about how women are being held down by the left. This whole time we were talking about how blacks were being held down by the left. Here's going to get into the actual matter. I guess I'm assuming a comparative analysis to what he just said, but applying it directly to women.
Universities have said, people at universities have said to me, we will not hire a woman who, for assistant professor unless we're sure she's going to make an associate professor, because the cost of legal processes in case she doesn't is so high. I remember telling this to a woman who was a full professor to see what response I would get.
A black woman?
Black woman. Mm-hmm. And her response was, yes, that's the way I hire, because I also have no time to waste at the EOC and in the courtroom.
So therefore, they don't get the same running chance.
That's
white
right.
students. The white,
if you're going to hire someone
scholars,
mediocre, the employers are safer hiring mediocre whites who can be thrown out if they don't work out.
Incredible. So that's a fantastic analysis. And again, this is something that we've talked about, but I love how Thomas Sowell, at the time it's happening, refers to this and basically was saying, look, affirmative action does nothing more than hurt the people it's trying to help. This is not just affirmative action, though. This is every single social class, every single issue that the so-called left, so-called people who want to virtue signal all the time about. It's the same thing across the board. You pick the issue, they're going to hurt the ones they think they're trying to help. And that is a model that we could easily take forward and apply it across the board. So this video was really uplifting to me in terms of just validating what I've already been saying, what we've all been saying, and the fact that the Supreme Court ruled on this should make us all encouraged that they're at least heading in the direction given the makeup of the body right now. So please like and subscribe on this video and share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.